Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High Power, Hashem, for allowing us to see another day. I'm driving, as you can see, on my way back to Maryland from New York, and I decided I want to come on here and just share an experience that I experienced yesterday. Today is actually Sunday, the first day of the week. You know, the day that many Christians go to church and worship the sun god, the S-U-N God of this world, right? Sunday worship service, you know how that is, but I throw that in there so you can understand where I'm coming from. But anyway, I was in, where was I at? Okay, I was in Brooklyn. Yesterday. Went to a baby shower, and when I was leaving Brooklyn, I saw this panhandler, this black guy. You know, he's on the side of the street. He had a cup in front of him, smoking a cigarette, and he was begging. Now, usually when I see panhandlers, I'm like the first one to try to go over there and, you know, lend them, you know, give them some money and shit, lend some assistance to them, and just chat with them for a minute. Because not only do I give, you know, to these people, I like to, you know, conversate with them, because a lot of times these people are lonely. Nobody really engage with them. You know what I'm saying? These are human beings. So I know a lot of times people just give them money and they figure that's going to fix the problem. But sometimes they do need a conversation, you know, to go along with the charity that's being offered. So as I was, you know, walking across the street, waiting for the light. I parked my vehicle in a gas station, and I was waiting for the light to go across the street to give this dude a couple of dollars and just spend maybe like 5 minutes with him. Because, you know, like I said, I have humanity. I'm a human being. I'm a human being. Or at least I have a lot of humanity in me. Okay? Even though I do know that I mix with the hybrid species. But for the most part, I have a lot of humanity in me. So, waiting for the light, and then I seen this car pull up in front of the homeless guy, right? I'm going to assume he was homeless. And this white guy came out and pulled out, I guess, you know, a couple of dollars out of his pocket. I don't know how many dollars he pulled out, but he handed him some money. And when I went, you know, I observed him, he handed him some money, and the guy was like thanking him or whatever. And then the white guy went back in his car and drove off. So I went across the street, you know, went up to the guy, took out some dollars out of my pocket as well, and I was handing it to the guy, and I noticed that he had a $20 bill in his hand. So I'm going to assume that was the money that was given to him. And I looked in his cup, and he has, you know, a couple of dollar bills and some change in there, but I noticed he held on to the $20 bill. And I was like, I was taken back. I was very pleased to see if that was the case, because like I said, I don't know exactly how much this individual gave this man. You know, I said a couple of dollars. I didn't actually see there was multiple bills, but I'm just going to assume that, you know, he gave this man the $20 because that's the last money he was clutching to. And I felt good about it, you know. And the reason why I felt good about it, and I'm going to continue, but the reason why I felt good about it is because, you know, I'm like, wow, the Gentile nation is actually now, you know, like the Most High, because I believe personally that not all white people are evil. You know what I'm saying? I know they're not. Not all white people are evil. Just like not all black people are good. You know what I'm saying? And the first thought came to my mind was like, wow, that's what's up. This Gentile actually, this heathen is actually going to get a blessing from the Most High, because the Bible tells you, right? The Hebrew People's book tells you he blessed those who blessed his people, right? The true Hebrew Israelite, not those, you know, the imposters over there calling themselves Jews. And I'm not talking about Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 people. I'm talking about the true 12 tribe of Israel, because only black people deal with tribes. So I was about to give this individual $5, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna match the gift that was given to him, because I'm saying to myself, okay, let's say he made $40 within 5 minutes, right? I could say, well, shit, how much money he made prior to us giving him money. And I usually when I give money to people, homeless people or other, I don't care what they do with it, because, you know, let's say they made $500 that day, right? they still have a lifetime to experience homelessness, you know what I'm saying, being without. So I would rather them make that kind of money. I'm just saying, I'm just hypothetically speaking, they made that kind of money, because I know one incident where I seen this black girl around my neighborhood. She have a daughter outside. They living in a hotel, and she have a daughter outside, and outside in the elements and shit. Daughter a little bit dirty. Matter of fact, I wound up giving her daughter, giving her clothes that was passed down from my daughter to her, and I gave her food and money and stuff like that too. And I noticed like everybody that came out of Rite Aid, they was handing her like $5 bill, $20 bill. I mean, she was racking up, and I was watching her, and I'm not straying off topic. I was watching her, and she wasn't as grateful as I would expect. It's almost like this is something that she does on a regular basis. So now it's almost like a job that she's doing. She'll take the money and she just put it in her pocket. She don't even look at how much it is. She just put it in her pocket and just continue. And I was communicating. I was talking to her for almost an hour that day, preaching to her, not really preaching to her, but teaching her who she is, and maybe why the circumstance she's in is because she disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments. And I was just talking to her, right? And come to find out, when she asked me to get the clothes, if I could drop it off at her room number, which was 201. When I went to drop off the clothes, family, I kid you not, most sides my witness. When I went to drop off the clothes, now her daughter looks, African American, right? She got a little wavy hair, but her daughter looks straight up African American. When she said go to the room that she's in, she said her boyfriend is there. He'll receive the clothes. So when she said boyfriend, I asked, I said, he doesn't work? She said, yeah, he was working and they fired him. She gave me the story why they fired him, and it made sense. And I'm assuming he was black. But then when I went to the room, the window was like halfway open. They were living in a hotel, and I looked and I seen this Caucasian guy in the room, and I said, I'm at the right spot. So I knocked on the door. He said, who is it? She told me to tell him, who sent me, whatever, mention her name. And he came to the door reluctantly. He cracked the door. And when he cracked the door, I said, a Caucasian guy? I said, that's her boyfriend. And again, family, I know a lot of y'all might not agree with me, but I do believe in segregation. I do believe we should stick with our own kind. I don't have a problem with us communicating or even befriending other nations, but I don't think we should be married out of our race. Even the Bible states that. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw him, I was taken back. Because I was surprised that, because she was talking about, because she was actually pregnant. She said she had 2 boys, the little girl that I saw, she was pregnant with another. And I'm saying to myself, that I even asked her, I said, why are you getting pregnant? And, you really don't have the means to sustain. She was like, her husband wanted a baby, another baby. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to judge her. So when I opened the door, like I said, it was a Caucasian guy, right? It was a Caucasian guy. And I also seen where there was actually 2 little kids, right? She said she had a 3-year-old and she had she said she had a 3-year-old and she had a 7-year-old. Now, when I looked at these kids, family, these kids was butt-ass naked. They had no clothing on. The room was freezing cold. They had like what's called a playpen. The 3-year-old was standing in the playpen. I mean, no clothes on. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Right? And the first thought came to my mind is maybe this is why she's in the condition she's in, because she's mixing with the heathen. You're not supposed to mix with the heathen. There's nothing, like I said, nothing wrong with dealing, because like my heathen neighbor, right? Oh man, that's my sweetheart. She's Caucasian, and me and her is like best of friends. We text each other. She's like probably in her late 60s. You know what I'm saying? Nice little old lady. We text each other. She'll call me outside when she sees some anomaly. Like the one time she seen some snakes in her backyard and she was showing me them. She had a cat that she wanted to give to me. I mean, we really, and I have no problem with befriending this woman. I mean, I love, even my wife was like, if people was to know the other side of you, because I'm always talking about the devil, these devils, and devil just basically means deceiver. And y'all are some deceptive motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? You know who I'm talking about. But I realize there's a lot of good people. You cannot really judge a person based on how they look. Because like I said, in the black community, you have a lot of people that look like me. And wicked as fuck. They selling drugs in our community. They gangbanging, terrorizing our community. And they look just like me. And then you do have some so-called white people, right? Because y'all not white, y'all different shades of red. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have humanity in y'all. It's just that unfortunately y'all came back and shit. Because like I always tell y'all ancestors and shit, y'all came back and y'all in that, you know, non-melanated pigment skin and shit, right? Non-melanated complexion that y'all have is gonna fuck y'all up in the end. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all have no protection from the sun. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So when I seen, you know, her so-called boyfriend, she's pregnant for, you know, a Caucasian. And again, I do have a problem with race mixing. I do, because the Bible says it, and for me it's unnatural. It's very unnatural, because when these kids, these half-breeds come out, I call them half-breeds because they, you know, they mix. When these mixed kids come out, they have issues. They have issues mentally, number one, because they don't know how to define themselves. Are they black or are they white? They're other. And then sometimes some people treat them special because they, you know, they usually look beautiful in their eyes. You know, the standard of beauty is how you know, the white man projects it, right? You have to have long hair and you have to be light skinned and have a certain hair texture and shit like that. That's the standard of beauty for the so-called white man. But we know beautiful, you know, the darker you are, the more melanated complexion you have, and the kinky your hair is actually, that's beauty from the Most High. Because the Most High give us this kinky hair to protect us from lice and shit like that, right? But I was taken back. I was a little bit disappointed, but I was glad to know that at least the clothing that I was giving her daughter, and I had some, because she told me she had, you know, 3-year-old, and when my son was born, you know, people was giving us clothing too. You know, we have neighbors and shit that had their kids, and you know, they'll give us nice clothing that's passed down from their kids, you know, for us. And you know, my son don't need it right now because he's still only, what, 5 months and shit. So they gave me clothes up until 3 years old. So I you know, I gave it to them. I gave them like 3 bags of clothing, and I'm, you know, I was hoping that, you know, it will help out. And the dude just took the shit like no thank you. So all he said was, he said thanks, and that was it. No thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was almost like thank you. You know, it was so like I didn't feel anything from it. I'm like, well, it is what it is. So after that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. You know, that's why she's probably in the situation she's in, because she's going against the Most High commandment, which is not to mix with any other nation. The Bible said he separated the nations and shit. Why would he separate the nations if he wanted us to be together? You know what I mean? Clearly, we're different species of people, right? So back to what I was saying. So when I saw this Caucasian guy giving the $20 to this guy, you know, like I said, I matched it. And I felt good to see that, you know, like the Most High really is pouring out his spirit, not only on his people, waking them up, letting them realize who they are, but he's also, you know, pouring out his spirit on the Gentiles. Because he said in the end, you know, the Gentiles are going to say, and I'm paraphrased, surely our fathers have inherited lies. You know what I'm saying? The lies they inherited is that, first of all, that they're the dominant race, that they're better than us, they're so-called supreme over us, which they're not. The only reason why they're ruling right now is because their ancestors took the land by force. The Americas and all these other land that these Caucasian dwelled, these are stolen land. The Caucasian came out of Europe and they went all over the world and shit, and took and started occupying land by force. Okay, so everything y'all have, it was taken from the Aboriginal people. Just to let your ass know that. All right, that's for the record. And I would never ever forgive them for that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the lands that they have today was taken from my ancestors, right? Stolen. Our ancestors lost their lives. They was hung on trees. Their babies was fed to alligators and shit, used as alligator bait. You know what I'm saying? They was hung, burned, and castrated. So I have a problem. I would never forgive, or I would never forget. I'm not a motherfucking Christian. Turn the other cheek, love your enemy. That shit doesn't stand for me. I hate, well, let me not even use that word, but I dislike my enemy. I dislike my enemy. No matter who you are, you could be black or white. So I just wanted to share that you know, this shit with y'all, the story with y'all, that, you know, I'm starting to see now that, you know, some of the heathens are actually waking up. And I don't know if it's because maybe subconsciously they know that something is wrong, you know, or basically what was done to black people by their ancestors. And I don't know, a lot of people might say, white people might say, well, my ancestors didn't own slaves. Well, y'all benefited from the shit. Y'all benefited from slavery. Y'all benefited from so-called white supremacy, because there's nothing supreme about you motherfuckers. Nothing supreme about y'all. Y'all just regular motherfucking hybrids, just like how we're regular people, right? Black people have more, well, I'm not even gonna say more superiority, because we don't, because we're on the bottom and shit. But you know, nothing supreme about white people. So I don't understand why they be calling them white supremacists. That's in their mind. White, there's no such thing as white supremacists, because y'all not supreme over nobody. You know what I'm saying? And for the good white folks out there that's doing well and trying to assist black people, you know, because again, we're on the bottom because of the Deuteronomy chapter 28 curse and shit, from the 15th verse to 68th verse. If you read it, the curses fit us, not those so-called bastards over there, Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, calling themselves Jews but are not, but a synagogue of Satan. I'm not talking about, they're the fake ones, okay? They're not real, okay? So the Bible say, if you bless the Jews, he will bless you. And I'm not talking about the Jewish, wishing there was Jews pertaining to. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the true people of the book, right? That according to the transatlantic slave trade, Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68, we was going to go back to Egypt on ships. I personally believe that not all slaves went on slave ships. I believe that the Aboriginal people here on Turtle Island and throughout the world, there was already black people there. There might have been some people that they actually transported, right, on ships, maybe from the Americas to the Caribbean. I don't think a lot of people came from Africa, like how they try to say that, because the trip from Africa, it's not possible for that trip to be made with all these so-called slaves, millions of slaves on a fucking boat, not having the food, the resources, the water. How did they feed all these so-called slaves on these transatlantic slave ships? How did they feed them? How did they water them? How were they able to deal with the excrement? You know what I'm saying? The feces and shit. These slaves on the bottom of the ship. I know they said a lot of them died or whatever, some made it, but I don't believe you can make the journey from Africa all the way to the United States of America and bring that many fucking people here. I really don't. I believe that they came to Turtle Island, which y'all refer to as the United States of America, or the Americans and shit. They took the people that was already here and they shipped them all over the world, close by. That's what I believe. And the question I have is this: where is all these so-called slave ship that they say existed? You know what I'm saying? I just don't see the shit. I just don't believe the story that they tell us. I think they run with that narrative of us being slaves and shit because they want to embed in our minds that that's all we were. We were slaves. We didn't have any beginnings other than fucking in the 1800s or the 1700s. Our beginning started and shit. Like we existed only in the 1700s when slavery came about. They don't want to let us know that we was ruling Europe. That's what they call the Dark Ages. They don't want us to know that we was kings and queens. Even so-called, what's the name? The King James, right? They said King James was a white boy. No, he wasn't. He was a man of color. You feel what I'm saying? He was actually a black man. And y'all ain't gonna believe this shit, but y'all can research it if y'all want to. A lot of the history they give us, even Abraham Lincoln. Did y'all know that Abraham Lincoln was mixed? He was mulatto. He wasn't even a full-blown white boy. Did y'all know that shit? Look at Abraham's picture. Go do some research. Y'all are going to be shocked to know that Abraham wasn't fully so-called Caucasian. He wasn't. That's why he looked the way he looked. Because even when I remember looking at him from the younger days, I said, why do he look so different than a white man? And that's why they executed his ass, because something within his spirit, right? And we know that he didn't really want to free the motherfucking slaves. He didn't do it. He did it because he was losing a lot of men and shit, and it's the only way to please the other forces and shit, right? They said, okay, we just gonna free these motherfuckers so that way we don't continue to lose men. He said if he could have helped it, if you read it, some shit that he wrote, he said if he could have helped it, he would have never freed the slave. That's the white part of him, right? That's the other side of him, that spirit, the other side of him. You know, the side of the captive spirit that he had in him. Didn't want to free us, but he didn't do the shit because he loved black people. So a lot of guys say, oh, Abraham Lincoln freed the slave. The Republican was the one responsible for that. He freed the slave because he had no choice, right? He had the pressure on his ass, and right after that, they killed him anyway. So what I mean, you know. So y'all need to do your history. I know I don't sound very educated and shit, but I have a lot of information. I do a lot of research, family. Abraham Lincoln was not fully white. You know what I'm saying? He was not, and you could go ahead and do the research for yourself. I challenge anybody to prove me wrong. Alright? Matter of fact, Abraham Lincoln was kind of like an Obama, but just a lighter version. Because look at his hair. You see what I'm saying? But I just wanted to come on here and share this with y'all. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. With that, I say shalom.